So let's get right into talking about the room 13th floor. So don't. It's really hard, but we appreciated the effort she put into like welcoming you, and then she has to just step into character. Even though the hosts, when you get into character, it might feel silly. That's okay. That's part of the experience. Jump into it. Everybody visiting your room is going to appreciate the effort. So
She even
Dolan
stayed
did a good job with
character, so we had to leave the main lobby area and walk to another suite in that office building. And on the way down the hallway, she was still in character, walking backward to the hallway and talking to us as she's leading us to the room.
So good job on that one, Dolan.
Yep, and then we arrive in another lobby type thing. Not quite as extravagant, but a place for photographs and things like that in this lobby. And this is where she actually gave us the story of the 13th floor. You're riding an elevator up to the 13th floor. While you're on the elevator, there's an earthquake.
An earthquake. So this was what we found out, that this was the first full motion room ever in an escape room. So, and it was our first time being in a full motion.
It was
room.
a real earth. The earth was quaking in our room.
Yeah, and the elevator, and it's a very real experience, and it makes it very difficult to interact with the things in the elevator. But that added to the challenge a little bit, and that was fun.
Extremely immersive. The room shaking as you're trying to solve puzzles. It's going to shake all the way through you solving the puzzles. Very, very well done. Good design of the elevator. You felt like you were in an elevator.
Yeah.
Everything down to the handbars.
Right.
Of
So
the room and everything.
some cool puzzles in the elevators. We won't give anything away there, but yeah, just half a dozen or so different puzzles in the first elevator room, and then you got to get out of the elevator to get into the other room.
So one more thing on the design elements of...
From the first room into the second room.
Yeah, I would say it wasn't quite as impressively designed. I mean, there was a dusty plant in the corner and some exposed wires and some other elements that were a little looked cheaply made. But for the most part, it was done well.
And we got some clever, perfectly timed hints along the way.
And I'd say one thing that I'm not a big fan of the hint mechanism where only one person can hear the hint or one person can interact with the game master. I'm not a big fan of that element. It worked with the theme on this one, so I think it's okay. But one thing that I've noticed in the way she was giving hints is I don't think she could see us very well, because she kept giving me hints about things that we had already finished. And so I don't know what her system was to be able to see what we were doing, but she was not fully aware. But
there were cameras in the room, but maybe just not angled at the way.
I'm not sure how that was
where
happening.
you were standing at the time.
But I would say her hints were very clear. They were to the point. They weren't puzzles disguised as hints. They were actually helpful. They were well timed, and I appreciated how and she was generous with the hints.
Yeah. And there were some unique and creative puzzles in that room, like things that we hadn't necessarily seen before. Over and over, so we liked the just you had to find some codes and things like that, like you would in a normal room, but just a unique way of figuring out what that code was. And yet, I will say in that room that you had to find things around the room to
look
figure
well.
out. Yeah, so look well, and that's all. That's like 9 out of 10 times when we get stuck, it's usually because we've missed something in the room that it's on the floor or it's leaning up against the wall.
There's a sticker on the ceiling. There's something hidden on the wall.
Looking.
Something. Just look around.
Yeah.
Don't stop looking while you're doing the room. Just keep looking throughout.
Just
the
keep
room.
looking. Yeah. So finishing up on the 13th floor.
I think it was good. I think as far as the fun element goes, you don't get much more fun. Entertainment-wise, the room's shaking. While I mean, like, laughter was happening, excitement was happening. Whether it was immersive or not, it was, but it was just a fun. At least the opening room. Maybe a little anticlimactic towards the end, but the opening room was a lot of fun.
If there was one frustration we had in the room, and you took note of this, is that it was maybe unnecessarily dark.
It was so dark.
So they give you flashlights, but you have to like hold the flashlight, and you keep wanting to put the flashlight like in your mouth so you can use both of your hands to do something. Well, you don't do that, especially during COVID, and I don't do that anyway. Even if I didn't know about COVID.
No, germaphobe.
I'm not putting a flashlight that somebody else has ever held in my mouth. but you wanted to do that several times so that you could see
Especially when
it.
there's only 2 people, when you can't have an assistant who's standing there holding the
Right.
flashlight all the time. It was
Right.
very frustrating to have to use a flashlight in a scenario where it didn't need to have darkness.
Didn't have to be dark.
I mean, it's not like the storyline itself forced the darkness. This was just a design
Right.
decision.
So that was just one maybe suggestion or critique, but overall, what's your total score for 13th floor?
Yeah, I think the floor was good, far above average. I'd give it a 4 out of 5.
Definite 4 plus.
Yeah,
good
strong
there.
4.
To take one last. I'm not actually drinking. I'm just pretending so I can keep my mask off.
All right, so then after that one, we went to a nice little dinner down the street.
We will recommend the lunch in between.
Seattle Fish Company.
Seattle Fish Company had a great plate of fish and chips over there. It's about a block away from the Escape Artist. So